Picture this: a thriving, plump aloe vera plant, sitting happily on your windowsill, completely safe from root rot, while you sit back, relax, and do absolutely nothing. No daily fussing, no complicated routines, just a healthy plant that takes care of itself. Now, if your aloe is looking sad and wrinkled right now, you're probably thinking it needs more water and attention. But here's the thing. What I'm about to show you flips that idea completely upside down. Especially secret number 2. It defies everything you've ever been taught about nursing a sick plant back to health. Let me walk you through the 3 simplest fixes that actually work. When your aloe's leaves start to droop and wrinkle, your first instinct is to grab the watering can, right? But here's the truth. Watering it now is actually a death sentence for your plant. Put the watering can down immediately. If the leaves are wilting, but the soil feels even slightly damp when you press your finger into it, stop watering and walk away. I know this sounds backwards, but think of it like this. Imagine being trapped in a room flooded up to your chin. There's plenty of water around you, but you can't drink it because you're too busy choking. Your aloe is wilting because its roots are drowning, not because it's thirsty. Here's what's actually happening underground. Aloe roots need the soil to be about 20 to 30% empty airspace so they can breathe. When you overwater, you push all the oxygen out of those tiny pockets. Without air, the roots suffocate and start to rot within 24 to 48 hours. Once the roots rot, the plant can no longer pump water up to the leaves, so the leaves shrivel up even though they're sitting in wet soil. The laziest way to check? Just lift the pot. If it feels heavy like a brick, the dirt is waterlogged. Don't water it, set it down and leave it alone for at least a week. Tell me in the comments, when your houseplant starts drooping, do you usually give it more water or do you leave it alone? Now here's the part that sounds absolutely crazy, but I promise you it works. We've all been taught that a sick plant needs to be immediately repotted into fresh soil and pampered back to health. But the absolute best way to save a rotting aloe is to leave it completely bare and unplanted. Here's what you do. Pull the plant out of the wet dirt. You'll probably see some mushy brown roots. Cut those off with a clean pair of scissors or a knife. Then leave the bare plant lying on a shady table or countertop for 3 to 7 days. Just leave it there. Don't plant it. Don't water it. Don't do anything. I know it feels wrong, but think of it this way. When you get a bad cut on your finger, you need to keep it dry so it can form a scab. If you keep soaking it in dishwater, it gets infected and never heals. Your aloe's broken roots need to air out and form a protective scab before going back into the dirt. What's happening during those 3 to 7 days is that the plant's cells are secreting a natural wax called suberin. This wax forms a waterproof scab over the cut roots, locking out the bacteria and fungi that cause root rot. Leaving it alone in a dry room gives this protective layer time to harden. The laziest way to do this: throw the bare plant in an empty cardboard box in the garage. Set a reminder on your phone for 1 week and completely ignore it until then. No babysitting required. Would you feel comfortable leaving your plant completely unpotted on a table for a whole week, or would that make you too nervous? All right, your plant has been sitting out for a week. The roots have formed their protective scab, and now it's time to replant. But here's where most people make the second big mistake. You might think a recovering plant needs rich, dark, heavily fertilized potting soil to heal. But that rich dirt will just invite the rot right back in. When you finally replant it, mix your potting soil with 50 to 70% perlite. Perlite is those little white rocks you see in bags at the garden center. They're cheap, lightweight, and they don't break down. Your rescue pot needs to act like a plastic colander, draining pasta water instantly, not like a kitchen sponge soaking it all up. Here's why this works. A mix of 50 to 70% perlite creates massive air pockets in the soil. This forces water to drain out the bottom of the pot in just 3 to 5 seconds. When the soil dries out that fast, it forces the aloe to aggressively push out brand new, healthy roots in search of moisture. Those new roots grow strong and thick because they're not sitting in soggy conditions. The laziest way to do this: buy a bag of pre-mixed cactus and succulent soil from any hardware store and blindly dump an extra handful of perlite into it. No precise measuring required. Just eyeball it, mix it up, and you're done. So let's recap what we just covered. When your aloe starts wilting, resist the urge to water it. Lift the pot. If it's heavy, walk away. If the roots are already rotting, pull the plant out, trim off the bad parts, and leave it bare on a table for 3 to 7 days. Then replant it in a super fast draining mix that's at least half perlite. Do these 3 things, and your aloe will bounce back stronger than ever. You'll have a plant that thrives with almost zero effort, while your neighbors are still frantically watering theirs into an early grave. If you want more lazy gardening secrets like this, tricks that actually work without turning your hobby into a second job, subscribe right now so you don't miss next week's guide, where I'll show you how to make your indoor plants thrive using zero-cost items you already have sitting in your kitchen cupboards. And before you go, I'm curious, what's the one houseplant you've accidentally ended up watering too much? Drop the name in the comments. I'd love to hear your stories.